Alright, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Falcon here. Different type of video today. A video I've been really seeing pop up a lot lately in my recommendations has been my Pokemon teams like in this. I actually I'm a really big fan of M&J TV's version of this, so I was like, I might as well, I want to do it, it's a fun thing. So I figured even though we're halfway through 2023, I'm gonna go ahead and do a video basically going over my teams Pokemon teams that I used in 2022. Now, I've been really playing a lot more Pokemon-esque, not on YouTube, just for myself. So I figured I would do this with the teams that I used throughout that, in my own personal playthroughs. So I only played about 5 games on my own throughout the year of 2022, but I feel like they're interesting enough to the point where it's it's not that weird. So getting into the first team was actually was a really cool thing. So I wanted to play through Pokemon Pearl with only Pearl exclusive. Now I had Pokemon Pearl as a kid, never had Diamond, so I was like, I want to do this with Pearl, see how it goes. So that team ended up being I ended up picking Infernape and keeping him along with him, and I ended up using Staraptor too, because I honestly very rarely have used Staraptor through Sinnoh and everything. I always usually opt for any other flying type, but I was like, I'll use this. And then obviously the Pearl exclusives being Miss Magius, Bastiodon, and Purugly. Now, I've used Miss Magius quite a few times playing through Pearl, so I was like, I really want to use Miss Magius again. And then I'm also like, I really haven't used Bastiodon and Purugly. And then I was just going to rock with these 5 and get a water type or something. And I was like, why not go fully into the exclusiveness of Pokemon Pearl? So then I was like, screw it, I'm going to put Palkia on this team. And I'm not going to lie, most of the game was just really Infernape and Miss Magius sweeping. The rest of them really didn't do anything. And then it really wasn't till the Elite Four that Bastiodon really started putting in work. And then Purugly, by the time you can get Glameow in Pokemon Pearl, you get him right before the Steel Gym, so he doesn't do anything there. He might come in some assistance against the 7th Gym and the 8th, maybe, but not really. And then really just didn't do that much work. And obviously Palkia, being a box art legendary, is just one of the strongest Pokemon in the game. So obviously by the time the Elite Four came, that was when Bastiodon really started to shine. Not with how much he can take out, but just how much defensive things he can do. So setting up Stealth Rocks, but that was really good. But then it ended up really just being Infernape Palkia sweeping through the Elite Four. And I honestly don't really have many memorable moments from this team. So I definitely, if I had to rank them, this would definitely be the lowest ranked on the team. Cool concept, and I definitely want to do this with Diamond version and maybe other games too, but not really the most memorable team. If I'm being honest, none of them really did anything that's obviously besides Infernape really did much. So that was that. The next game that I ended up playing was actually the release of Pokemon Shining Pearl. So another Sinnoh playthrough. So that team, because I just got done using Infernape, I decided to go with Piplup and get Empoleon. I actually love Empoleon. Definitely a top tier starter for me. And then I wanted to use Pokemon that I really didn't get a chance to use too much as of late. So I ended up using Togekiss, Medicham, Magnezone, Mamoswine, and Drapion on that team. Now Medicham, I just love Medicham. I think it's a really good psychic fighting type. And honestly with Pure Power, it's just really good. And Magnezone is honestly one of those Pokemon that I really never use. I think I've only used them in Black and White. But I really never actually got to use a Magnezone in Sinnoh. And that was definitely a lot of fun. I got Magneton, the Underground Pass, I believe, around that time. And I was able to sweep through Wake. And that's also where I was able to find a Scorpy and a Swinub and a Togepi, actually. Pretty much all these guys came from the Underground Path. Because I think a lot of them are actually Platinum exclusives, unfortunately. Or if they're not, then I just am dumb. But I definitely wanted to use Mamoswine just because it wasn't really haven't used Mamoswine all too much. So I was like, I need to use Mamoswine in this Pearl playthrough. And an Ice and Ground type, just really good coverage. Was actually able to help a lot through the second half of the game, which was really nice. And then I think this is actually my first time using a Drapion in a playthrough, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to remember now. I think I used Drapion a different time. In a black 2 only dark type run. And that was the only other, this is the only other time I used him, so I was like, I gotta use the boy. And also, I was just kind of like desperate for a 6-member, because I'm like, I don't really want a grass type right now. And fire types really don't have much use, and I already had like Flamethrower and Fire Punch on Togekiss and Medicham respectively. So I was just like, haven't really used them much. But I don't really remember too much from these playthroughs. Honestly, this is the first time I really don't have many times for these first 2 teams I remember, like, key moments. I was just kind of blowing through the game, having fun with Pokemon I don't get to use. But that brings us to the 3rd team I used. Now, after Shining Pearl, I didn't really play too much Pokemon until the release of Pokemon Legends Arceus. And this is probably the first team I actually have a real connection with. So just because I love Typhlosion in the Gen 2 games, I ended up going with Cyndaquil and using that good old Hisuian Typhlosion. Oh my god. This is the first time I've actually bonded with my starter in such a long time. And it felt really good to have, like, this is my starter Pokemon. That was really good. And then I ended up really wanting to use a Hisuian Sneasel, because I was like, this is really cool. And I never get a chance to use Sneasel in playthrough games. So I was like, screw it, I'll do that, and I'll be using Sneasler on my team, which Sneasler, dude, one of the best physical attackers in Legends Arceus. Oh my lord. When this thing comes to Gen 9 competitive, it's going to be freaking amazing. Like, it definitely helped me out through a lot of those key battles. The fight against Rowan's ancestor, I forget his name, with the fight against him, Sneasler carried through that. That was fun. And then I ended up using Walrein. Now I was like, I saw his feel and I was like, well, I actually have never used Walrein before. So Legends Arceus ended up being my first time playing with Walrein. And it was a lot of fun. I see why a lot of people love using him in Gen 3 and in Hoenn respectfully. Because he's a really bulky water type, and just using, like, taking advantage of the agile and physical and the strong stance. That was a lot of fun. Oh my goodness. I had to grind my team up a lot, and actually a lot of Alpha Steelixes were popping up, and that strong stance liquidation, that was destroying these Steelixes. And then obviously when I saw the reveal of Hisuian Braviary, now let me tell you, Braviary, top 5 Pokemon from the Univadex. It is goated. I love Braviary. I think it's amazing. So when I saw there was a Hisuian Braviary, I was like, I gotta use that when I play through this game. Yeah, I got to. And I used him. And it didn't really do too much throughout the game, because by the time you can get Rufflet, it's, he really doesn't do too much. Like, I mean, he helped against, like, opposing Sneaslers and stuff, but other than that, it was just really cool flying around him with the Hisui region. That was really cool. And then the next member here, so I ended up picking up an Ambipom and using him for a while, and it was really cool. And then I ended up going through, it was around the place where you can find Hisui and Zorua. And I found a shiny Apom, so I was like, God, when am I ever going to have a chance to use a shiny on the team again? And then here came, replacing my irregular Ambipom, was the shiny Ambipom. That was so cool. Ambipom, top 3 normal types for sure. And the fact that I got to use a shiny one through this playthrough was so cool. So many, just using, like, taking advantage of, like, the new battle mechanics Legends Arceus had, and just, like, the agile strong stance, agile swift, and then strong stance, like double hit or something like that. And it was so much fun just using him through some of these important battles. And then, of course, with Legends Arceus came Alpha Pokemon, so basically Pokemon that were stronger and a lot bigger. And trying to find a last member, I ended up running, like, right before you get to Mount Coronet, the top of it, I found this Alpha Electivire, and I was like, I haven't used Electivire in a long time, since Black and White 2 first came out, so I threw on Alpha Electivire, which was a lot of fun. Didn't really do too much for the other battles, so it wasn't, like, the most crazy thing, but he did actually come in clutch when catching the Dialga, ended up paralyzing it and then catching him up. So it did come in clutch, and this is actually the first team I actually had like a little bond with, because I was like, these are all like new like regional variants, shiny Pokemon I really haven't used in a while or haven't used before, and a brand new Pokemon. I got a really good bond with this team. I think this was actually one of the first times, if I remember correctly, I didn't actually nickname my Pokemon. So I feel like I would love this team that much more if I ended up nicknaming them. So, but it was definitely really cool. And then while waiting for Gen 9 to come out, yet another Sinnoh playthrough, but this time I actually watched, I believe it was Sylph Spectre's Hardcore Nuzlocke with Dragon types only in Pokemon Platinum. And obviously there's only 2 Dragon types that you can use, and that was Garchomp and Altaria. Now, I didn't use Garchomp on this team, but let me tell you, I love the way Altaria was going through the game. So I built a Platinum team around Altaria, and as you can see, Altaria is on the team, but I also ended up using Gengar, Porygon Z, Electivire, Lucario, and Abomasnow. Now, this was like the playthrough of Pokemon I really didn't get to use all too much, so I ended up playing through the game. I was like, alright, I'll figure out a team once I start getting to get a Swablu. Whatever. And then right after the Eterna Gym, I ended up going to the thing, so I was like, I'm gonna use Rotom. And then I ended up finding Ghastly, because I was like actually gonna get Rotom, and I was gonna use Alakazam on this team instead. And I was like, I love Gengar. I actually have a plushie of Gengar on my bed right now. And I was like, I haven't used Gengar, I think, since FireRed Omega, so I was like, I'm throwing Gengar. So Gengar was the first official Pokemon on this team. And obviously, I love the way Altaria was used in Sylph Spectre's video. So I was like, alright, Altaria's got to be on the team. And then I was just kind of putting stuff together as I went. And as I was going through this, I was like, I really haven't used Lucario too much. I actually very rarely use Lucario in playthroughs. And I almost used him in Legends too. So that's why I was like, I got to use him. So I ended up using the Lucario after that. And before I even took on Byron, because I was like, I'm using this guy for Byron. Hatched the egg. Did all the steps in Sillage City, used a rare candy, got a Lucario like level 2, slapped an EXP share, grinded my whole team up in Iron Island, and then once he got to like level 34, I think, I went in gym, swept Byron with that team, with that Lucario, and it was awesome. And again, I was like, I had then, whatchamacallit, Porygon Z, again, top 3 normal types, probably second favorite normal type in the game. And when you had to gift Porygon, I was like, yeah, screw it. I have not used Porygon Z in so long. I love this Pokemon. With Gen 6 competitive, Drug Duck the Porygon Z, dude, was so good and competitive back in Gen 6. Not that he was so good, it was just so much fun to just sweep teams with Porygon Z. That's where the love came. And Drug Duck, obviously, my boy over here, so he's just spazzing out like that. Definitely was so much fun to use. Nasty Plot Sweeper. Oh my goodness. I don't even think I used Abomasnow in the Elite Four. I think I actually swept Bertha with Porygon Z. And I think I had like Tri-Attack, maybe Thunderbolt, and Dark Pulse on that thing. Dark Pulse or Ice Beam, definitely. But it was just so much fun. And then I ended up picking up Electivire right by Iron Island. Because at that point I was like, I liked using Electivire in Legends. I'm going to use him again. And it sucked because I already beat Wake. But it was definitely a lot of fun. I actually taught Electivire Earthquake. It was actually the key to sweeping through Volkner. And it was so much fun doing that. And then I ended up not using my starter. I picked Turtwig, but I didn't use him. So I was like, screw it. I was like looking at my team. I'm like, I'm getting destroyed by Garchomp. And I was going through the snowy route, and I was like, I'll just pick up a Snover. I'll use a Abomasnow. I was like, screw it. The ground type would also help, because I really don't have an answer for ground types. The only answer I had was my Electivire and Lucario, who were both weak to steel. So I was like, this is perfect. I'll use a Abomasnow. And he didn't really do too much. He got a couple lucky Nevermelt Ice boosted Ice Shards on Cyrus's like flying types, but other than that, he really didn't do too much to the Elite Four. And I lied, actually. Now that I'm like actually thinking about it, Abomasnow destroyed Bertha and got the luckiest play against Cynthia's Garchomp. Ended up dodging the Dragon Rush and getting a crit Blizzard, one-shotting the freaking Milotic, or not the Milotic, the Garchomp. And then ended up taking down Cynthia's Milotic as well. And actually had the clutches Ice Shard against her Roserade, winning me the fight, which was crazy. And this is honestly, this team specifically was definitely probably one of my most favorite teams, because it was the first time ever, man, that I did a normal playthrough of Pokemon and didn't use my starter. And I definitely got to bond with them that much more. And then just a bunch of fun things in the Elite Four, like Altaria Dragon Dance sweeping. I think obviously like Porygon Z and Gengar were my special attackers. Electivire was my physical attacker. Lucario and Altaria were both mixed attackers. And I think Abomasnow ended up being one too, with like Ice Shard, Wood Hammer, probably Blizzard. And I'd want to say like Synthesis or something, maybe Giga Drain. But it was so much fun, just Altaria being able to set up against Aaron and absolutely sweeping him alone. And then obviously Abomasnow. Plus Gengar a little bit, taking on Bertha. And then against Flint, a mixture of Altaria, or not Altaria, Porygon Z and Electivire. And then against Lucian, just a tag team of Gengar and Porygon Z coming clutch and taking out all the Psychic types. And each of them actually had such a good role against Cynthia. Porygon Z taking on Spiritomb. What else? Abomasnow taking out her Milotic and her Garchomp and her Roserade. Gengar having a clutch, weakening Roserade enough and getting rid of all her Hyper Potions. And then Electivire stalling out her Milotic, and then taking out her own Lucario. Altaria getting a clutch play, and it was definitely just such a memorable and fun team to use. And all Pokemon I either never used or barely used before. And I definitely want to use them again, like so much. I know it's weird, like, because I'm saying like Lucario and Gengar are both on this team. And I'm saying I've never really used them because I haven't. I think, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I really only get a chance to use Gengar in ROM hacks. I don't really play that too many ROM hacks. And then Lucario, last time I used Lucario was, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember if I used the GIF Lucario in X and Y when it came out. So the first time I definitely remember using Lucario was when Black and White 2 came out. So it's been years, almost 10 years since I've used a Lucario. So I was like, I gotta use him. Obviously, Electivire coming in clutch 1, so I was like, I gotta use him again. And then Abomasnow being surprisingly handy. That's my boy. Oh, that's my boy Snowbama. Snowbama the Abomasnow. And obviously Casper the Gengar, Drugduck the Porygon Z. I'm trying to remember what I named. I think I named him like Gigawatt the Electivire. I think like Puff the Altaria, or like Cloud9 or something like that. And I might have nicknamed Lucario like Aura or something. Like, it was not original at all. But definitely, this has to be my favorite team that I used of all 2022. It was a ton of fun, honestly. And the first time ever not using my starter, I arguably had more fun using these guys than I would building a team around my starter. And the fact that my team was built around Altaria, of all things, it was just so much fun. And honestly, if you really want to try using this, it's a hassle to get if you're playing on a cartridge, which is what I did. I didn't play on an emulator. So if you want to play this on a cartridge, obviously you have a guaranteed 4 trades with Haunter to Gengar, Electabuzz to Electivire, and Porygon to Porygon 2, and then Porygon 2 to Porygon Z. And obviously a million steps to get Riolu to evolve. But if you want to use it, it's honestly so much fun and worth it. And I would love to do a debrief on this team, just specifically, which would be a ton of fun. But then the last team I ended up using, this is now Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are out. So it's obviously my playthrough team through Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now, so many people, let me tell you, I got some history with the game and the team. Now, I did a video about the leaked Pokedex for Scarlet and Violet. And I saw Scoville in there. And I was like, this dude is sick. Looks like a fire grass type. I'll see how it is. And I really didn't hate any of the starters, so that's why I was like, I'll go with Quaxley. I can build a pretty good team around a water type. And then, so obviously Quackable being my starter. Saw Scoville in fire grass, so I was like, I gotta pick him up. That's the first ever fire grass. That's all I've been asking for since X and Y, dude. I was like, I gotta pick him up. And then when I first saw Low Kicks in the leaks, oh my god. This dude was so cool. And honestly, once I got my Nimble to evolve into Low Kicks, dude, he carried me through half the game. It was crazy. And then Kilowattrel joined the team, and I was really just rocking with those 4. Kilowattrel being a very fast, I think this is the first, like, oh no, I say the first. This is like the 3rd or 4th electric flying type. The first one being his pre-evolution, and then Emolga, and then Zapdos. So the only thing that sucks about Kilowattrel is his moveset's pretty not the most diverse thing, which does suck, but, you know, you win and you lose. And then when Sun and Moon came out, I started that tradition of using a pre-gen Pokemon in all my teams. So I was like, found a Halucha, and at the time Halucha was my mascot, and he still is my unofficial mascot, but right now it's Pidgeot. So I was like, I gotta pick up Halucha. I gotta put the boy on the squad. First time through the Paldea region, gotta use them. And I was struggling for a 16 member, and I was like, you know what, screw it. Baxcalibur, the pseudo legendary of this game. I'll just end up using him. It's a very basic, I feel like, team through Paldea, but it was my team, so I can't really complain too much. I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of fond moments with the first four, specifically against the double battle and Rhyme. That was so much fun. Scovillain and Kilowatt were leading off, just to weaken everything, just so Low Kicks and Quackable can come out and just finish off the Houndstone and Terrestrialized Toxtricity. It was so much fun. And then Halucha honestly taking part of taking out the Team Star stuff. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, maybe I just gotta use Baxcalibur more, but like, he was honestly the weakest link, which is crazy, because you're like, how is the pseudo-legendary the weakest link of your team? Well, he wasn't that good. Maybe that's just because I picked him up so late in the game. Like, right before, like, I think I picked him up right before the 7th or 8th gym. Which I probably could have gotten a lot sooner, but I was like, screw it. But definitely a lot of fun. And then taking on the Elite Four again, they all had their little like shining moments. Like Halucha taking on the normal guy with Kilowattrel, and obviously each of them having their own like fight against champions Pokemon, with Low Kicks surprisingly carrying the champions team. The MVP of this team is Low Kicks for a fact. Definitely. I have to relook at the Gen 9 decks, but Low Kicks definitely top 3 Pokemon to come out of Scarlet and Violet. It was so cool having a Bug Dark type that could just kick ass. And I think in my tier video, I actually said that he was like pretty good, but he was a one-trick pony, but he's such a good for physical attacker with things like Leech Life, Lunge, Throat Chop to do damage, but he's also got like First Impression and Sucker Punch Stab to just take out and just move fast and hurt first. It was definitely just the MVP of the team. But if I had to rank them all, I would have to say the Pearl exclusive team is number 5. It's just out of all of them, it's the weakest link. Then probably I'd have to say the Shining Pearl team. And then I don't know what to put next. Honestly, I'm going to have to say the Pokemon Violet team, then the Legends Arceus team, but they can honestly be intertwined. Violet number 3 and Legends Arceus number 1, but I gotta put that Platinum team at number 1, dude. It was so good. But those are my teams that I used through 2022. If you guys like this video, make sure you smash the out of the like button down below. I definitely had a blast making it. Had fun revisiting all my old save copies and going through my teams and just like revisiting all those fun little moments. And honestly, if you guys want, I definitely would like to do a video of like my first ever teams through the first ever Pokemon games, which I would love to do if I can remember them correctly. But yeah, with that, if you like the video, make sure you smash that like button down below. Also hit subscribe. It should be popping up in the bottom right corner or right in the middle or to the left of your screen. But with all that, I'm gonna get the hashtag out of here. My name is Falcon, and I will see you all in the next time.